Sports Show, back with another episode. Happy Friday, and it's Friday the 13th, which is crazier, which is crazier. But today we have a special episode here. Before I introduce him, please, everyone, all fans, please tune in on our speaker app. We're live on Spotify, iHeartRadio, on all the podcast platforms. And fans, you already know about the speaker app. You can ask questions on that on our app on the phone there. But today's guest, his name is Adam Harrington. He's a former NBA player. He's and now he used to coach in the NBA also with the Brooklyn Nets, and he's won championships all over while he was playing. He won the German League Championship in 2007. He won the German Champions Cup. German Champion Cup champion 2007, and then the Copa Toyota champion in 2005. So he's a winner. He knows how to knows the game of basketball. So everyone go check him out on Instagram. What a great career in the NBA. Also, he played with Dirk Nowitzki, Steve Nash, and with the Dallas Mavericks. So first of all, Adam, thank you for joining the show. It's truly an honor. And how are you and your family doing today?
Thank you so much. Happy New Year to everyone that's listening out there, whether you're video or audio, but just want to wish you a Happy New Year. So excited to be here. Obviously talk life, hoops, everything. Yeah. I appreciate the amazing intro. Fun career. Didn't always win, but definitely have played on every level, which is really cool. From obviously high school, college, the development league back then when it was the NBDL to the NBA, and then obviously all overseas. So it's been a fun journey, especially as I transitioned into coaching. But we're doing great. 2023, we're hitting the ground running. I have 4 kids with my beautiful wife. My kids are 15, 10, 8 boys, and I have a 5-year-old girl who completely runs the house. So we are nonstop. It's amazing. It's not perfect, but we love every minute of it. And it's a really cool journey we're on right now.
Yeah, so talk about your basketball career. Obviously, you went to NC State and Auburn for college, and what was that transition? I mean, what was that like going from? What did you learn from high school as a player going into college?
Yeah, I grew up in Western Massachusetts, last town on 91 before you get into Vermont, about 40 minutes north of the Hall of Fame in Springfield, about 15 minutes from UMass. But small town, 5 towns made up my high school, 500 kids, 7 through 12. So really small school. Fell into an amazing coach, amazing program. And we were really good. Division III, small school, but played a lot of the big schools. Obviously had a really good high school career. Played AAU out of Boston for Greater Boston. Some of you viewers out there might remember the name Dan Godzurek. Played in the NBA a little bit. Yes. Played at UCLA. Yeah, we were teammates. So had a really good team. And yeah, about 16 years old, I kind of exploded. My body caught up to everybody else's. I was young for my class. But I was always a really skilled player, really high IQ player. My coaches challenged me a lot. So yeah, obviously 18 years old, won a gold medal in the 18 and under Olympic team. But I committed to North Carolina State. I fell in love with the ACC. Nobody in my area had ever really gone there except for Travis Best, who had an incredible career. But I just wanted to prove people wrong. I'm a super competitive guy. Everybody's like, no way, this scrawny little white kid from Western Mass can play in the ACC. And back then, I consider the ACC was the best conference in basketball. Everything's different now. There's teams moved everywhere, but this is old school ACC. I loved it. Herb Sendick was the head coach there. Sean Miller was the lead assistant. Heck of a recruiter. We know his career. And then, believe it or not, my roommate was Archie Miller, who's now coaching at the University of Rhode Island. Had a great career. So yeah, went there, had success, first freshman to ever lead a team in scoring in school history. That's because David Thompson couldn't play as a freshman. He was amazing. But yeah, and decided to transfer. I went to Auburn that following year. NBA became a reality for me. And Auburn was number 1 in the country at that time. They had Chris Porter and Mamadou Ndiaye, Doc Robinson, great players, Marquise Daniels. So yeah, went to Auburn. Loved it. Football school, but basketball was big. So I kind of look at it. I got to play in the ACC. Nothing better than going to, the Cameron Crazies, to Little John Coliseum at Clemson, Maryland that year. Oh my God, Cold Fieldhouse. I remember Steve Francis guarding me everywhere. Their team was incredible. So yeah, I got to play in that conference and then go to the SEC, play at Rupp Arena and all those schools. So I really got to see 2 incredible basketball landscapes. And I loved it. And then, transitioned into there to obviously NBA and the Mavericks. But Yeah, what unbelievable experiences. Every level is different, and you can say you're prepared. It's like going into being a parent. You think you know it all, you're never prepared.
Yeah.
And you're never prepared for what's college, but having a strong foundation, obviously, and a system and a routine really helped me on every level. And I was obsessed. I'm obsessed with the game of basketball. I completely am in love with it. Um, and I'll have to say, I have to love my wife more and my kids, but I absolutely love basketball. So there was never a doubt that I was going to do everything in my power to try to be successful at every level I went to.
Yeah, speaking of you went to the tell our fans about the NIT tournament experience because that must have been a great experience for you, and you were the first ever freshman in school history to lead in scoring for that team. And can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, scoring was always something that I took pride in. I like to score in a variety of different ways. It's part of the reason I transitioned into player development. Like, I love skill development. I love working on everything. And we all have our go-to strengths and things that we do, but having I guess you could say a library of things you can do on the basketball court just makes you overall a better player. And so I loved it. Yeah, and obviously it was good. We were low scoring, so I think I led the team in scoring at like 11.6 per game. So I'm not downplaying that, but I'm not saying I scored 25 a game either. But we all averaged anywhere from 50 to 55 points a game. But yeah, really cool. The NIT, I think we beat Providence in the first round, and then we played Princeton. And believe it or not, everybody's gonna laugh. We lost on a last second backdoor play, like Princeton, out of bounds play. But they were incredible. I mean, the week leading up to preparing for Princeton, like in practice, you literally wanted to punch yourself. Like, oh my God, backdoor, this, that. You had to be alert at all the time. So yeah, really cool experience. Playing in any tournament in college basketball postseason.
Wow. Yeah, so we are live with a former NBA player and coach. He's a current and former Brooklyn Nets coach, Adam Harrington. So please ask your questions here. Interact. We'll take some fan questions later on here. But can you talk about obviously you're a shooting guard throughout your career, but did you get to play any did you play multiple positions? Did the teams want you to be versatile more too?
Yeah, and it really stems back to when I was young. Our high school coaches obviously saw something special in me. Perry Messer, who's still coaching in Northampton, Mass, girls basketball now. Scott Thayer, who's now the head coach at my old high school.
Yeah.
Were incredible. And they made me play multiple positions. And I played a lot of point guard. I had to be a decision maker and make plays and read the defense and stuff. So that kind of same in college. Me and obviously my first year, Jamison Brewer, who went on to play in the NBA at Auburn, like great point guard. And then he left early in the draft, and me and Marquise kind of played point guard by committee. And I will tell you this, long story short, the reason I made the NBA is because of my point guard skills. Yeah. So I didn't get drafted. I was going to Cleveland. I went to Cleveland for summer league, and we all remember DeJuan Wagner, incredible scorer, whose son is number one in the country right now in Camden. And so DeJuan was drafted, I forget now, top 10 with the Cleveland, and he was a scorer. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden I was like, all right, I am not the shooting guard. So, they needed somebody to play point guard and facilitate and run everything. And I had comfort doing it. And to be honest, I had my best game in summer league against the Dallas Mavericks. Wow. I end up going to the Dallas Mavericks camp at the last minute with my agent, with Dan Fagan at the time. And, they were looking for like a third, fourth string point guard. And that's how I made the NBA. I obviously went to training camp, undrafted, nothing guaranteed. And I always tried to excel in those. I loved competition. I loved my back against the wall. And yeah, obviously that's how I became friends with Steve Nash and Nick Van Exel and Avery Johnson were on staff. So I was learning from them every single day. But my ability to kind of play those multiple positions, shoot, score, but facilitate an offense and know how to throw the ball ahead and communicate. And it really helped me have my short career in the NBA, but that's really what separated me at the end of the day.
Yeah, speaking of undrafted, obviously all the players want to be drafted and that's a dream of theirs. But if you think about it, there's another positive side to it because as a free agent, you can decide where you want to go and where you most comfortable feel. But can you talk about how tough is it for you not getting drafted? But at the end of the day, you're able to go on a team and showcase your talent at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, probably a story I've only shared a few times and I haven't really shared publicly, but I mean, I was devastated not getting drafted. I could have left a year earlier, probably was projected like late first round or whatever, went back, didn't have the best year the next year. but was ready to be done with college. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And I went and I worked out for the Milwaukee Bucks. They had 4 picks, maybe 1 in the first round and 3 in the second round. And I worked out for them 3 or 4 times. I did 25 workouts maybe. And if anybody knows anything about the NBA draft time period and those workouts, that's a heck of a load. But I was like, man, whatever. Tell me where to go. I'll be there. I'll work out for you 9 times. Can I come back again? But I remember, long story short, and my agent, Dan Fagan, rest his soul, is no longer with us, but an incredible agent. He had a lot going on. He had first round picks or whatever. So I didn't really have a lot of communication with him during that actual process. But I remember not getting drafted that night. And I was walking all over the town of Auburn, Alabama, bawling my eyes out. Just so upset, so embarrassed. But obviously I knew I was going to come around, but I get a call probably 45 minutes into my walk. Who knows where I am? And my agent calls me and he goes, hey, are you, how are you feeling? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, hey, I'm super upset. And he goes, hey, I got to be honest. I was really busy, but I'm going to tell you, like, I actually talked a few teams out from not drafting you. Oh. And he said, because the very reason you just mentioned about 90 seconds ago, since I've been rambling, is it opened all of our options to really select a team that really has an opportunity for me. And really, I had a chance to make the team. And I still didn't comprehend it. All you dream about is hearing your name. And all the people that get that privilege, oh my God, it's amazing. But there is, to encourage everybody out there too, little did I know there was something better going on. And it allowed us to choose Cleveland, which at the end of the day allowed us to say, hey, Dallas had this need, this look. And Don Nelson Jr. was the coach at the time. Nelly was the coach at the time, and he loves offense. He loves creativity. It was like the perfect match for me. And to obviously then get mentored by Dirk and Steve. But I had no clue in that moment. I was so upset, and with good reason to be upset. There's so many opportunities out there, and it only takes one person to see you one time for 1 second and be like, man, I'm going to give that person a chance. And I'm so fortunate it worked out that way.
Well, it's just funny how it works out. Like, you had a great game against the Mavericks in the summer league thing, and then they pick you up because they didn't want anybody else to pick you up or Cleveland to keep you. But so once you got the call from the Dallas Mavericks and they wanted to bring you into camp in their team, what was it like for you? And obviously you got to play with Michael Finley, Dirk Nowitzki, Raja Bell, Steve Nash, Eduardo Narha. I can go down the list. Avery Johnson. So what was that like for you, just to be around talent like that?
Just, a dream come true. Even if I hadn't made the team, oh my God, the NBA is so special. You eat, sleep, breathe basketball. And and the resources now are even better than they were in 2002, 2003. But just unlimited resource, unlimited expertise of people around you to help you become a better basketball player and a better person. I loved it. I was there all the time. Obviously, Dirk and Steve, incredible careers. They were just obviously still getting started too, but to see the way they worked and their attention to detail, and for them to take me under their wing. But then, to your point, learning from Michael Finley's professionalism, Nick Van Exel. Oh my God, the story. Nick Van Exel won the 6th Man of the Year that year. He played 3-on-3 and 1-on-1 with us lower minute guys every single day just to hone his craft. Like, he loved it. He was like, man, this is going to make me better. And he was going to play 30-something minutes. But just incredible. I loved it. I learned from veterans but camp is, I went in there. I think there was maybe 13 guaranteed already. Few people, Kenny Satterfield was in camp with me, Derek Hood. Wow. Then we signed Walt Williams. We all know Walt Williams, a heck of a shooter, veteran guy. So there was 12. Then we signed Walt Williams. And then we signed Raja Bell comes to camp. This is before Raja Bell was Raja Bell. And he had a little stint with Philly. He was overseas, had come back. He was on guarantee. He was going to make it. Oh my God. Going against Raja Bell every day in practice. I had to be sharp. And it just made me better. I loved it. I loved losing, getting beat, coming back the next day, winning, whatever it was. And one last spot. And I'll never forget to this day, in the training camp, Nelly comes up to me. He goes, hey, Rook, come over here, in his deep voice, And all he says is, looks like your bank account's going to be a little bigger next month. And that's all he said. I remember running up the stairs of the old Mavericks practice facility in the arena. I called my sister, first person I called, and said, we did it. And, that's a moment that I'll never, ever, ever forget.
Wow. Yeah, so can you tell our fans about some of your best moments with the Mavericks as a player? Because you spent from 2002, 2000 to till 2003 with that team.
Yeah, well, so I was there only 4 or 5 months. I got cut in January. They brought in Antoine Rigaudot, a veteran shooter, which is an incredible lesson for me that I learned. And it's something that I've passed on to all these people that I'm able to train now. I was a really good scorer and I had a lot of different things, you know. I was young, whatever, things like that. They experience one thing you can never replace. But I didn't shoot the basketball as good then as I did later in my career. And that moment, I got released. So maybe not a high moment, but I went over to Germany for 4 straight weeks to
Yeah.
train with Holger Geschwinder, who's Dirk's guy. And it changed my whole life and changed my whole game. And I became a much better shooter. Came back, finished the season with the Nuggets that year. This was the year they weren't very good. We were in the LeBron James sweepstakes. They ended up getting Carmelo, obviously. So got to play a little more. But to be honest, that seems like a low moment, but it was such a high moment for me. I needed it. You know, if I was going to make it, even just professionally, it was great to hear like, hey, we need a more reliable catch and shoot guy. You know, they've got all the guys that are going to score and do everything. So what a great moment. But obviously, yeah, scoring your first NBA points. I scored free throws against the Lakers. I remember I won't say the word hazing, but I remember what they did to all the rookie stuff, which was so fun. But yeah, just such great moments. My sister came to live with me. She ended up working for Mark Cuban. That was a highlight for me. But I have friends there. They always have the Mav fan for life, MFFL. Like we're legitly that. We are family for life, and obviously still close with a lot of those players and coaches and in that organization.
Yeah, so before we go any further, speaking of your sister, obviously, sorry for your loss, Lisa, and I mean Jill. Sorry, Jill, and you have like a fun going on for her, and recently when you were at the Brooklyn Nets, you honored her with a big, I think it was a event you guys had and
Yeah.
a sneaker thing. And can you talk about her, what she meant to you in your life, your sister Jill?
Yeah, we could do a 3 episode podcast on her impact on my life. But in short, my sister passed stage 4 undiagnosed colon cancer at age 33. She was 8.5 months pregnant, and we lost a baby boy as well. So obviously a devastating time. This is 2010, so it's almost 13 years ago. I came back from Europe, started a foundation for her, wanted to honor her, wanted to take a spin off what I thought she meant to me in my life as I chased my dreams. So sometimes that's financial support, sometimes that's mentorship, sometimes that was just a hug, sometimes that was just an encouragement, sometimes that was just showing up at everything that I did.
Yeah.
And she really was instrumental in me making my dream of playing in the NBA come true. So we wanted to provide that. And I took a year off from basketball. My heart had shifted. I was consumed with making a difference. And here we are, 12 years later. We've refurbished 4 different basketball courts and communities. We've given back close to $750,000 to youth all across the country. And it's been amazing to see her legacy still alive. We did obviously I've been now going on 6.5 years living in New Jersey, obviously worked in Brooklyn 6 years. 2 years ago, or I guess a year and a half now ago, we did an event, and it was my first one in New Jersey. It was incredible. Obviously got to invite a lot of my friends and family, and we raised a ton of money, but it just brought really cool awareness to the area, but also high level athletes coming and sharing their stories, from Spencer to Blake Griffin to Matt Rambo lacrosse, Jason Campbell football to Jason Duffner and PGA. So it's just really cool to give back. And sometimes there's so much power in words and encouragement, and that's a part of what we stand for. And I transitioned I was 30 at the time. I loved basketball. Little did I know I was devastated, didn't know what was next. And, I started, my wife looked at me one time. She's like, well, we got the foundation going. What are we going to do to make money? And I started training a middle school girl, never dribbled a basketball a day in her life, $25 an hour. And, fast forward 3 years, I'm training Kevin Durant. He wins the MVP, and my world kind of explodes. There's obviously a lot in between there, but, I had no clue what was next. But I knew I had this gift of basketball in my hand, and how I was going to use that. I'm still figuring it out, and it's such a fun journey.
Wow, yeah. So our prayers and thoughts are with you guys, and it's just such a devastating situation, and it's amazing what you guys are doing to honor your sister. And we'll if you let me know if you need help, we can help you guys out because we're in Jersey
Yeah.
too, and you guys have the clubhouse in Jersey too, which I know about too, and we can definitely help you out and meet you guys in person and help you out with the foundation, and we can grow your thing from there too.
Thank you so much. That'll be amazing. I'm going to take you up on that.
Yeah,
So I really, really appreciate it.
yeah, anytime. So speaking of obviously overseas, what was that like for you playing overseas and winning multiple championships there?
Yeah, I mean, overseas, God, I'll share this story that I haven't shared a lot either. Is, in 2003, 4, I had a contract in Rosetta, Italy. Nevin Spahia was the head coach at the time. Young Nevin Spahia. Nevin Spahia has gone on to be an incredible EuroLeague coach. He's a Croatian guy. He coached, was an assistant with the Hawks. Um, and he was just getting started out. I went over there, and my mind had not shifted to being I can make a career in Europe. I was stuck on the NBA. The NBA facilities are amazing. You get paid on time. Everything's the apartment's amazing. And I just hadn't shifted my mindset. So I was there for a week, said I'm leaving, went back and played in the development league. Long story short, a few years later, I went to another, obviously got to play in Spain, a little different. But my mind had shifted to be like, this is incredible basketball. I can learn so much here and I can make a living off it. And it's everything I've dreamed of. And when I made that shift, I was able to play in different places and just be in a better mental place, obviously with my fiance to my young son, Jaden, who was really young at the time. And I really enjoyed it. When I was able to embrace it, I really, really enjoyed it. And if that encourages anybody out there, we ended up loving going to a new country, trying to learn a new language, finding out where the pizza place was, finding out where the bakery was. Like, it was just, we missed it in 2010 when the tragedy happened. We actually really missed it. But
Wow.
what a challenge. We met so many amazing friends from all these different countries. And yeah, it ended up being a very special part of my journey.
Yeah. Speaking of Jason Campbell, yeah, so one of our fans just reminded us, yeah, they said we had Jason Campbell on our show also. Yeah, so I forgot to say that we actually had Jason Campbell on our show 2 years ago, and one of our fans just reminded me. So
Jason's incredible. So
oh,
Jason
he's
was the
awesome.
quarterback at
Yeah.
Auburn when I
Yeah.
was there, and he was supposed to play basketball and
Yeah.
football from Mississippi. He was an incredible basketball player. He used to come play open gym with us, but he threw the football once. The football program was like, he's football only, and we're like, what? You know what I mean? But incredible athlete. I loved his journey, and it was obviously we reconnected a couple years ago, and yeah, he's awesome, and he's doing amazing things for all that area of Atlanta, and then he's giving back to Auburn and helping a lot with I think the NIL stuff now. So just a great guy, but
Yeah.
heck of an athlete, man.
Hey, you're part of you're part of the show now too with him because we had him on 2 years ago. So yeah, it was awesome, and I'll send it to you so you can check it out too. Yeah. So so obviously you brought the winning mentality coming from overseas, and tell our fans how did the Brooklyn Nets job come about, and it must have been a dream come true for you, and obviously coming from your playing days and relating your playing days to the players you coached, and what was that like, and bringing the winning mentality?
Yeah, I mean, interesting how I got to Brooklyn. So 2013, 14, I was with KD, training him about 3 out of 4 weeks every month.
Wow.
Incredible journey. So fun to do life with him, and of course basketball. I probably helped him just a little bit. He's incredible. He probably helped me more as a coach and trainer. But it's such a cool thing. I always joked one day that I was going to write a children's book. A story of an unlikely friendship that led to greater things for both people. And he's such a special person in my life. It's been 10 years now. He's playing at even a higher level. So that part's amazing. Obviously got to coach him in Brooklyn, but now we're still together all the time. But so I go through that year, and then everybody was kind of sniffing around, like, who is this Adam Harrington guy? And, why is Kevin Durant working with him? So I started meeting people. I had no desire to get into coaching. I was kind of my own boss. I could help Kevin. I was running my sister's foundation. I trained young people. I was mentoring people. I had a year-long skills academy in Kuwait City, Kuwait, which was incredible. 400 kids over there. And I was traveling there quite a bit. I love traveling. I love meeting new people. Part of that was my experience overseas. I just love it. Like, if somebody called me right now and was like, hey, let's go to Japan or Norway. I'm like, when are we leaving? Let's go. I'll bring a basketball and we'll teach somebody. This will be awesome. So I love traveling. But during that time, I was training Kevin in the summer, got to know Scotty Brooks, Sam Presti, and them. They made an offer to me. long story short, I did a 1-year deal. Kevin got hurt that year, Jones fracture. We just missed the playoffs, and Scotty Brooks lost his job, and I ended up having a 4-year extension. I turned it down last minute. I went back out on my own, stayed living in Oklahoma City, had no income coming in, but I just felt something in my heart that I could make a bigger difference. I wanted a few projects that I wanted to touch, much like the situation I'm in right now, and just walked it out in faith. And little did you know, I met so many amazing people. I started consulting with the Rockets. I was doing stuff with the Clippers and DeAndre Jordan and JJ Redick, James Harden and Pat Beverly and Sammy Decker in Houston. I had Elena Deladon in Delaware, which was a project that I was so on my heart. It's one of my favorite people I've ever got to work with. And in that time, Sean Marks was with the Spurs. And I started to meet him. I met R.C. Buford, and, they were essentially getting information from me and getting to know me. And, in that time, Sean got the job in Brooklyn, and he texted me and said, "Hey, what do you think about Brooklyn?" And I no clue. And, Sean ended up making me an incredible offer. It was great for us to come back home. I loved player development. I loved building a culture, and there was no better place to do that in Brooklyn. We all know the story. We weren't going to be very good. We didn't have high draft picks. But man, it was like the perfect place for me. It's like everything I loved. And then getting to know Kenny Atkinson and his journey. He's a player development guy. He taught me so much. I almost still want to mirror his path, of how he worked his way up. But it was great. My wife has family from New Jersey as well. We had some friends here. We've been here 7 years now. It's the longest we've ever been in a place. So, Sean Marks took a chance on me. I know I can always say I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but there's also power in being exactly who you are and what you're really good at. And like I said, I loved people. I loved helping. And I just wanted to be a part of something special. And that Brooklyn was everything at that moment.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you about Kevin Durant later, because all of my fans wants to know what it was like working with Kevin Durant. So we'll do that later. But I want to ask you about the Brooklyn, your opportunity that Sean Marks gave you. By the way, Sean Marks has built this team from the ground up. It's amazing. And so for you, obviously you've been through the ups and downs of Brooklyn, and Kenny Atkinson, what a great coach he is. And one of the players you guys had was D'Angelo Russell, where he excelled with you guys, and now he's doing bigger things with Minnesota and the different teams that he's on. But what is it like going through the ups and downs and seeing this team develop into bigger things now?
It was just incredible. And to talk about Sean Marks real quick, like Sean is incredible. He's one of the best leaders in the industry right now. Literally navigated through another tough time and navigating through one now, and just through just incredible, and just finds a way. That's what we always say that. Let's find a way. But we set our standards and our culture from the beginning in Brooklyn, and that was Kenny and Sean. And this is how we're going to do it. And we're family first, and we're about the right things, and we're about being there, and we're about development. It wasn't win, lose, yes, massive part of it, but it was all about development. Winning without development, we didn't want that, So losing without development, the worst, but we just had this model of like that. And we prided ourselves on a care factor for a player in every aspect. The 15 at that time, 15 players, now it's 17 players. They were number one. And from everything off the court to their family, to their nutrition, to their performance, to their basketball, that's what consumed us. And at any time in development, you can help have people see themselves be successful. Success breeds success. And that's kind of where we did, from the Joe Harrises to the Spencers to the D'Angelos. You brought up D'Angelo Russell. What an incredible story. D'Angelo came and knew. He was like, man, there is so much more inside of me, and I can play. And he bought into everything. And it was to see where he took off. I remember the first person I worked with, Sean Kilpatrick, a guy on the cusp. That year, his first year, he was scoring 38 against the Clippers. And I just sat back and smiled because he smiled. It was just so fun to do that with them. Not always easy times. My relationship with Spencer, holy smokes, it's like parenting. But to see who he is today, great. Yes, making $20 million, but an incredible father, just relationships excelling on and off the court. So happy for him. And that's really what we were about at the end of the day. And I just think we kept slowly building it, and people recognized what was going on. And it was great to obviously then have some superstars take interest and come. And, I look back at it now, I'm no longer a part of the organization, but man, like, was I around greatness for 6 years? From Kenny Atkinson to Sean Marks to Steve Nash to KD to Kyrie to James. I will never, ever want to take that for granted. Now, was it all like easy and not stressful and anxiety? Did I stay up late at night and text and you're doing a lot of things? But oh my God, people can go through a lifetime in the world sport of basketball and not be around such high excellence and high standards. So I'm so thankful for it. Who knows where my journey leads me next, but those lessons and those experiences. So I always try to pride myself on, being able to, a sense, connect and help the 17th man on the roster, but also arguably the greatest offensive player in the world, the number one guy on the roster. So I just think I wanted to challenge myself about that. Everybody, you got to connect with them different. Everybody speaks a different love language. Everybody responds to things different. And I really prided myself on digging into that to be able to make an impact on whoever was in front of me.
Wow. Yeah, maybe I'm a New York Knicks fan. Maybe we can use you on the Knicks staff with Tom Thibodeau. You can help us develop some of our young players too, like Quentin Grimes and
they're doing good. They're fun to watch. I get to watch more. I'm actually watching more games now because I get the MSG network, but obviously enjoy them. And even all the years we battled with them, I love the Knicks being good and that matchup. It's awesome. It's so good for the city. There's nothing like Madison Square Garden, and so excited to see them playing really well right now.
Speaking of Spencer Dinwiddie, the ironic thing is now he's playing for your former team now, the Mavericks, and he's doing big things with Luka Doncic. And man, I love to see Spencer. Spencer is one of my favorite stories, also including DeAndre Russell and Spencer Dinwiddie. Man, this guy went from unknown to known. Now it's just amazing to see how these players, like you said earlier, the NBA is special. You can find unknown talent, you can make them into greatness too. So
yeah, no, Spencer is. I remember seeing him. He was playing for the Windy City Bulls. His career in Detroit and Chicago hadn't gone as it wanted to. Spencer will tell you he was a little bitter. One of Spencer's greatest gifts is his confidence. Is his swag, for the lack of a better term. For the younger generation out there, he had swag, and he believed he was better than what was being portrayed. He believed he was one of the best players, and how we figured that out and fit it in was the next piece. But there is nobody more diligent with their body, nobody more diligent with studying the game. He was available at every workout, every practice, every game. Just incredible devotion to being available and taking care of himself, and then enjoying it. Watched a ton of film. Wasn't easy. He'll tell you. He had an answer for everything. I'd be like, Spencer, hold on, look at this clip. No, well, I thought his hand wasn't there. That pass is open. Hit Jared Allen. But it was just great, and he bought into everything. Always did exactly what I said and did, and to see him evolve. And what's so special about him too, he's one of those players that can play multiple positions. He can fit in on the ball, off the ball, play point guard, play shooting guard, come off a screen. He can guard. He's a heck of a pick and roll defender. He's a great off-ball screener. He used to hate when I'd be like, yeah, you got JJ Redick tonight. Chase him all around. Joel Embiid's going to hammer you with screens. Get around it, but he could do it. And that's what made him special. And that's why his value just increased. And, I'm so happy. And then cool to see him, obviously in Dallas. And he's loving it. And, they're a part. That's a special. I told him, take everything in. Who knows? The NBA changes really quick. Take it all. You're around greatness, Spencer. Now, what you can learn from Luka to all of them, to Jason Kidd, to whoever you're around, you're going to take that wherever your journey takes you next. So, and just cherish those moments.
Yeah, this bear with me. This is gonna be a loaded question because our fans are really excited to let us know. They want to know what was it like working with Kevin Durant. And obviously, you started from 2013 with him, training him, and obviously getting him better at one of the best players in the world. So going through Kevin Durant's story, man, what a great story. Obviously, OKC, then going to Golden State, winning championships with the Golden State Warriors, and signing with the Brooklyn Nets. And once you got the job at Brooklyn, and how excited were you when Kevin Durant and Kyrie chose Brooklyn to come there to see the talent, for them to see the talent that's going on in Brooklyn, and for them to have confidence and go to Brooklyn? What was that like for you?
Oh, I mean, obviously incredible. I didn't talk to Kevin a lot prior to him signing. That was part of our relationship and our journey. I was hearing all the rumors that it was potentially us or the Knicks. So deep inside, I was like, oh man, I got one of my best friends coming to the city regardless. I'm hanging out with him. You know what I mean? Like, because there's nothing like sitting with Kevin and throwing on YouTube some old Dominique Wilkins footwork clips in the mid post. Like, Kevin is a basketball junkie. So I knew I could hang with him anywhere. But yeah, obviously super excited to be reconnected with him. And, had been a few years, and Kevin like continuously gets better and better and better. And I was fortunate enough, even in the summers, to still train with him. I bring out Karis LeVert and Sean Kilpatrick. And so just kind of built our brotherhood. He poured and mentored those guys. So it was really cool to see that. But, for it to come full circle and be with him day to day again, what was amazing. And I will tell you this, Kevin tells everybody every day exactly who he is. He absolutely loves basketball. He just wants to hoop. He's obsessed with it. And it really made my job as a, basketball friend, I guess you could say, that much easier. And Kevin was, I use the analogy like, I remember being a kid and I went to Disney World for the first time, and that wide-eyed wonderment where you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Kevin has wide-eyed wonderment for everything related to basketball. If it can make him the tiniest bit better, he is all ears. Now, with that being said, you better know what you're doing and how it directly correlates to his game. And he doesn't do all the gimmicky stuff and things like that. So it challenged me to be really good, really focused, really detailed, and say, hey, we're doing this because this is where Tony Allen is getting his hand on the ball. This is where Kawhi is making it a little tougher than it should be. So just really, we honed in and Kevin loved the challenge of the footwork and balance. And a lot of it was the foundation of what I learned from Dirk and them. And one of Kevin's favorite players was Dirk. And so it just, a lot of things came together, but it was amazing. But Kevin's attention to detail and his willingness to do whatever you said. And I tell people all this day, even when I worked out with Kevin this summer, like, it was, what do you got for me? It was never, hey, I want to do this, this, or that. He was listened to every word and would do it to the best ability. If he didn't like how it felt, throw the ball back again. And it's just such a pleasure to be around. And like I said, he's made me a better overall in so many facets than I probably even remotely helped him. But it's been a fun journey, and to see him play at the level he's playing now, everything he's kind of dealt with, physically and all that stuff, is just a testament to who he is and what he puts into his craft every day.
Yeah, and also he has a great management team around him with Rich Kleiman and also Randy Williams. That's a heck of a person right there. But for you, obviously it must have been a treat for you to work with Kyrie too, being a fellow point guard. And Kyrie is special, man. I never seen a talent like this before. But what was it like working with him also in Brooklyn?
Yeah, no, Kai is special. Really cool to be around him. You've never seen anybody move like that. It would be mind-boggling. His ability to accelerate, decelerate, change direction, and just his, shot making ability. And I remember one quick Kyrie story for me, like, I said, God, like those finishes, like, and he plays around with the basket all the time. But he talked about, like, he had a hoop in his backyard, and part of the backboard was messed up, and there was only certain places you could hit it where it would go in. And he just worked on hitting that one spot from so many different angles and so many different moves that that's really where it started. And it's such a cool story in his backyard, playing one-on-one with his dad and all that stuff. And like I said before, I love getting to know people's story and journey. Like, there's a reason what drove them to be elite or to take a path to be elite at some specific thing. And that's what's so unique about the NBA is, there obviously are some players that can do a broad spectrum of things, but there's a lot of people in the NBA and play high level basketball that are elite at like one or two things. And that's, being that standing, whether it's getting a rebound every 3 minutes, like you play 30 minutes, you got, it's 10 rebounds. How many people average 10 rebounds in the NBA? You think about those little things, those details, being an elite defender, having the highest IQ, being obviously shooting, things like that. So it was just really cool to hear his journey. But yeah, to watch them two work out a lot together and challenge each other and the creativity of it. And we kind of always believe, it's kind of on my hat, those who are planted will flourish. But like having the foundation and the footwork, you literally can let the creativity flow out your fingertips. And both of those guys are prime examples of that, being rooted, being balanced, and having incredible footwork, and then letting the creativity kind of go. And I think a lot of young people need to understand that. We see highlights, and a lot of times we see from the waist up, and we see these amazing follow throughs, even to talk about Kobe Bryant and those type of things, MJ. You know what I mean? But we don't realize the first thing that happened is their feet hit the floor. They hit the hardwood. And that's where the balance and the power started. And it literally flowed through their body out their fingertips. And, those guys kind of understood it. And that's where it starts.
Yeah, and the good thing about them, they go back to the New Jersey and the community, give back to the community. Kyrie, obviously a Jersey boy, and they give back, and that's the best. That's a amazing thing about them. They play ball and they go help out the community, and that's all. And trying to win championships, and that's amazing about these two players. And for you, I gotta ask you, obviously, then that you guys bring in James Harden and make it. Obviously, it didn't work out, but what was it? Short time of period for you. What was it like just working with James Harden and bringing him in to possibly form a big three?
Yeah, James is obviously another. I'm so fortunate to call him a dear friend. Got to know him kind of through my relationship with Kevin originally. We weren't in the Thunder together, but obviously just in the summers. And then that year I did consulting with the Rockets. Spent a lot of time with him, and a lot of times it was just conversations. What I love about James is he is a basketball savant. There is nobody, I think sees the game the way he sees it. He's obviously for years been able to manipulate it and get people, much like Luka does right now too, and James still does, just so special. He would talk scenarios in basketball. And that year we had Mike D'Antoni on staff. Oh my God, I learned so much just to hear us, everybody, but I would grab those two and teach me something, make me better. And to hear him talk basketball and offensive and stuff. And James loved it. He loved to talk the defensive side of the ball, all the things. And so he was very approachable in that moment. And I will say this, people forget just a few years ago at what level he was at. I mean, you could argue that little stretch, he ran into some Warriors loaded teams with Kevin Durant, and had some, but that style, it was incredible to watch what he was able to do. Another guy, acceleration, deceleration, stop and go, elite hand-eye coordination. And I loved our workouts. I would really challenge his pickups and his gathers and his footworks. And he was open to anything, anytime. Another guy that, hey man, we're 9 a.m. tomorrow, 30 minutes. Yep, beat you. No worries, Spent some time in Houston around his family and his, his amazing circle that he has around him. So just an incredible guy. Doesn't surprise me that, he's already turning things around, and he loves the game, and he's a basketball savant.
Yeah. And speaking of the coaching staff, you got to be around great coaches throughout your playing career and even coaching career. And speaking of Mike D'Antoni, what a great person to learn from. And obviously you bring in your former teammate, Steve Nash, a first-time head coach, never coached before, but he obviously brings experience as a player. So what was that transition period like for you guys, bringing in the whole new coaching staff and Mike D'Antoni, Steve Nash, and Sean Marks taking a chance on Steve Nash?
Yeah, no, I mean, God, Steve spent 23 years, just an incredible leader, incredible human. And we obviously had a lot of things go on, from COVID to other stuff, to injuries, like just unfortunate. But I'll tell you, he never wavered in his process. What an incredible communicator. I've never seen Steve get rattled. Like, his delivery was always on point. And just obviously saw the game differently. And being around Mike, they had great synergy. Mike had a great relationship with James. Ime Udoka, incredible voice. So he was on staff, powerful, people listen. Great defensive mind as well. So yeah, it was special to be around that. And then, 6 years I've been around Jacque Vaughn, and people are now seeing how good he is. But I love Jacque. We still talk almost, it feels like every day now. I love his family. His wife and my wife are super close. His boys I keep an eye on, but he's doing an incredible job, and I learned so much from him. And I still joke that, when the bubble happened, I ended up going out to work with Kevin and Kai and Spencer, all the guys that didn't go to the bubble. And it was very important part of Kevin's rehab process. So I didn't get to coach. I coached 2 games and then COVID hit, and I loved it. And now he's obviously the head and I'm not there anymore. But I said, maybe one day I'll be able to serve him. He just has an incredible knack for communication. He empowers his staff. He empowers the players. He's well prepared, well organized. Another guy that literally every press conference, every team meeting, every coach's staff meeting, he's just so buttoned up, dialed in, like, and organized. And so I think the players really saw that, and it's just, they're playing incredible. And it doesn't surprise me one bit because, Jock is just an incredible person and an incredible coach. So if he's listening, I hope he hires me one day.
Yeah, so speaking of that, tell our fans, I'm just curious, obviously, how tough is it for you to lead the Brooklyn Nets staff? Obviously, they brought, obviously, kept Jack Vaughn as a head coach, but how tough is it for you that you left? But would you consider coming back if they call you again?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't say it in the sense of tough. Like, it was time for me, and there was a lot of reasons why. At 6 years, I gave everything I could to Brooklyn, and Brooklyn was incredible to me for my development and my family. We loved it. Like I said, this is the longest we've ever been in a place, 7 years now. In playing and coaching, you never know where you're going to be. And with a family of 4 being rooted for an extended period of time, it has really helped us build a foundation for our family as well. Who knows where it leads? Obviously, incredible. Like Brooklyn, if that opportunity or any opportunity comes, we're exploring it. But it was time for me. And I needed to re-engage my family. I needed to re-engage on some other things and just continue to grow and really find, as we know, trying to find that balance of everything. And it's so important to me. I always said, like, I wanted things to be really simple for me. Like, I want to be a really good husband. Yeah. I want to be a really good father. I want to be a really good friend. I want to make a difference in people's life, and I want to be healthy. Like, I love working out. And like I said, I'm not saying great this or that. Like, I want to be in my wife's eyes, in my kids' eyes, in my own eyes. It doesn't matter what the outside people think. Great. There's people say, oh, what does a great father mean? No, it means great to my kids. Like, what is that? And that's such an ever-evolving process, and it's not easy. And we've ebbed and flowed even in this time I've been around with them now. But I look back, and anything that I've tried to accomplish in my life, whether that was making the NBA or be a really good trainer or move up the ranks in the coaching thing, like, I want to be really good at it. I knew it wasn't easy. What in any of our lives, something that's really hard to do, has it ever been easy? So I'm like, all right, this marriage thing isn't that easy. I thought the parenting thing would be super easy just because I'm present all the time. It's not. But oh my God, that journey now, I've got to get better. I got to look myself in the mirror. I've got to connect myself with amazing people. I've got to read more. So it's been so fun. And ultimately, whatever I choose next, or whoever may make an offer or take a chance on me again, like Sean did 6 years ago, like, I'll just be better off for that. And I'm really excited to see where it takes me.
Yeah. So, have you been have you been in contact with any teams lately, or have you been in contact with Sean Marks or Kevin Durant? Obviously, they're busy with the season, but have you obviously in contact with the players every day? I'm sure.
Yeah. No. Obviously, still talking to them. I've texted with Sean and them, Jeff Peterson, Andy Birdsong. They're all amazing guys. So I'm super excited to see them being successful. And I visited with a few teams. I have several other ones to visit, which are great. Like, you can offer a little insight into what they have going on. They get to know you. It's just a really cool way. I've spent some time with the New York Liberty. Obviously, I'm very close with Sabrina, but getting to know their head coach, Sandy, and their GM, Jonathan, like, I've loved it. So I'm really trying to connect with as many high school coaches, college coaches. I went and saw Will Weaver coach the Paris team, in the Euro Cup. Trying to see everything on so many different levels, and because there's so many people you can learn from. And I sometimes laugh. Sometimes, like, youth coaches are some of the best, like, coaches around. You learn amazing stuff because the game of basketball is actually really simple. It's how you communicate and deliver, but you have to know certain things. But so it's been really cool to kind of do all that, reconnect, and obviously give back any way I can for what I feel like I have some knowledge and expertise in this or that, or if I can encourage anybody, I'm more than willing to do it. But it's been fun to kind of get back to the roots and meet with as many different people in the basketball and leadership kind of world to make me better.
Yeah, and you told us and our fans that now you getting to watch more basketball games without coaching. But can you talk about what have you seen from this Brooklyn team now, seeing from a different side? And obviously, they started off slow with Steve Nash, and they parted ways. But Jack Vaughn has been excellent building this team. I mean, making this team better, and also keeping the players focused and locked in. And Kevin Durant and Kyrie seems happy, and they love playing with Jack Vaughn. And can you talk about this team now? And they're second in the East right now, currently against Boston. And at 27-14. And obviously Katie is injured right now. I hope he's back pretty soon in a month, they said. But can you talk about the now team?
Yeah, I think it's like my amateur opinion being on the outside, like two things. One, health and availability. It's the number one thing in the NBA. You can construct the greatest roster. They're not available, and you get a chance to build cohesiveness and go through adversity together and deal with hardship and deal with tough games and end of game stuff where you really figure it out. They've had it. They've been healthy. It's been incredible. Like, and I think that's probably you. I would argue with anybody that that's the number one thing. And then second of all, they're really building because you're available and together and you're practicing together and you're playing games. And like I mentioned, going through those tough times, they're building a brotherhood and you can really start to see it. And like I said, Jock's done an incredible job with it. And Steve laid a foundation for it. You know, Kenny laid a foundation for it years ago. There's still some guys still left there, Joe Harris and stuff. And Sean's obviously been the staple of it. And it's been really good. And, you know, you're tested a lot going through tough times, whether that's COVID, whether that's injuries, whether that's a coaching change. They've navigated through some of them. And you look at all the teams that win, you know, the Raptors that when they finally won, like what they had gone through, playoff heartbreak, series, you know, we lost a tough one to Milwaukee 2 years ago. Last year, but like you pay your dues and now you're starting to reap those benefits because it's all experience. Now the Kevins and those guys have a lot of playoff experience, but some other guys didn't. And even young staffs like going through, people forget that staff's going through adversity and staff's going through playoff tough, you know, adjustments and things like that. That's all growth. And I think that they're starting to all reap, you know, the benefits of going through those hard times and that growth. And Jock's doing an incredible job.
Hey, you guys have built an amazing coaching staff, and obviously Amari Stoudemire was part of that too. And you see Royal Ivy now, man, on the coaching side. I like that. Royal Ivy, underrated player, man. Everybody forgets about him. This guy can play, and now he's doing big things with Brooklyn. And I mean, you guys built obviously not that anymore, but if you get the chance to come back, man, this Brooklyn Nets have built like a strong foundation when it comes to coaching staff.
Oh yeah, they definitely don't need me. I mean, you can go Royale Ivy, obviously Tiago Splitter, like his resume blows my resume out of the water. Royale, like, you know, Ryan Foran Kelly's been there forever, incredible. And sometimes the player development people don't get enough credit. Those guys, staples. Trevor Henry, who's now behind the bench, is one of the first guys that I met there. Was in the video room, worked his way up. Incredible basketball mind. So I'm so happy to see them guys being successful. And like I said, Jock's doing an incredible job of empowering them and using them. But yeah, such a great staff. And it really brings a smile to myself when I see them being successful.
Do you have time for fan Q&A?
Yeah, I got probably 5 more minutes.
Okay. All right.
Straight dad mode goes in the kid.
Yeah, we'll take a few fan questions. One of our fans want to know, what was it like doing the halftime reports on Yes Network, giving the reporters updates?
You know what? It was so fun. You know, like I feel like I got a face for a camera. But that was back when we used to wear suits and stuff. But no, it was really fun. It's a great chance to, like, obviously we talked about it at halftime, you know, as a staff, like do this, and that. We give a message to the team. You kind of look at the stats and you're able to how quickly challenge yourself to be able to give a 60-second answer. So I really enjoyed it. It was fun. And you know, Michael Grady, Ryan Rucco, Sarah Kustok, Hein Eagle, all those guys, they're Richard Jefferson. They were so fun. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I miss it.
Another fan question. One of our fans wants to know, did you reach out to Kevin Durant this summer when he requested that trade? And obviously coming back now with the team, but did you reach out to him during that time period? And one of our fans want to know, did he give him advice during that time period?
Yeah, you know, like, I mean, obviously my relationship with Kevin's private. So, but yeah, no, we definitely connected. And it was more, to be honest, it was basketball. Like, hey, come work out. And sometimes I always joke when I was growing up, like some of the most peaceful times when I was upset, I needed to think or sort something out, I just went in the backyard and shot basketball. It was like one of the most calming things. So Kevin's whole thing was, let's focus in on basketball. And, you know, when Kevin had questions, we had conversations. But yeah, our relationship, those type of things remain private. But yeah, no, it was obviously, we've navigated through, he's helped me through amazing things in our journey. So yeah, it's obviously we've been through a lot together.
All right, we'll take 2 more fan questions. One of our fans wants to know your favorite music.
Oh, you know, I recently was able to get connected to Drake. Oh, wow. and work him out and spend some time with him. So I'm on a big Drake kick, but it's weird. I could listen to worship music, to reggae, to Metallica, Enter Sandman, to Tupac, to whatever. I'm singing a lot of Disney songs with my daughter, and so we love that. I love musicals, so I don't really. But right now, if you probably top played is Drake.
Hmm. And the last fan, one of our fans wants to know your favorite player to watch now.
Ooh, I mean, I kind of have to say, I don't have to say KD, but obviously KD is amazing. I have a 15-year-old son, and we're obviously watching a ton of basketball. I am a massive fan of Devin Booker,
Oh,
and
wow.
we study a lot of Devin Booker. Just how compact he is, how simple he is, how efficient he is. He can play pick and roll. He can play off the ball. He can post up. He can play ISO. I think he's incredible. I love his demeanor. I love his drive, his competitiveness. So he's somebody I really enjoy watching, and that's more even from a player development standpoint, but also, hey, Jaden, my 15-year-old, watch every move he makes and stuff. So yeah, he's one of my favorite to watch. I can't wait till he gets back healthy.
Yeah, yeah. So the last two things here. Our team is part of this foundation, the Hugh Jackson Foundation. We're trying to help him prevent human trafficking. He's a former NFL coach, but we're trying to help him to prevent human trafficking. So we'll send you the foundation so you can go check it out.
That'd be awesome. I will definitely support it.
And the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the nurses, doctors, and all the essential workers right now?
Yeah, no, obviously it's just incredible. My sister-in-law is a PA at Hackensack, and I just am amazed at all the time what she is able to do on a day-to-day basis, what she's able to see, how she's able to perform under. We talk about pressure and anxiety of 10 seconds and we're down one in an NBA game. Doesn't even compare to what all these healthcare workers go through. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It doesn't go unnoticed, and you're doing way better than you think you are. And I just keep encouraging you.
Yeah, well said. And Adam, tell our fans where they can find you on social media so they can follow you, and you get, and then also what do you guys have coming up next?
So yeah, both Instagram and Twitter. That's all I'm really on. At Adam P. Harrington. So at Adam P. Harrington. And then obviously my sister's foundation, JEHH Memorial Fund. You can put that all together.org. That we're also on social as well. So if obviously love if you can support it, but really I challenge you, if you know of anybody that we can make a difference in their lives and impact through the foundation, please reach out to us with this. We raise money, but we love to give it out. So that's more important is if you know anybody that we can impact, we're there. But yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's really cool. You had me drug up some stories that I haven't told in a while, and kind of got me motivated for the rest of the day. But definitely, and if somebody's listening and you want to reach out to me, if I can help you in any way, whether it's advice, mentor, a basketball drill, or whatever, don't be hesitant to shoot me a message.
Hey, thank you, man. This was awesome. Thank you to our fans for asking questions also and listening in. And like you said, obviously, like I said, we can help you out with your foundation, and we're both in Jersey, and but we can come, we can come visit, meet you guys in person, and help you work together, help each other out, and possibly do big things. But man, we'll definitely contact you with that one. But thank you again. Have a great weekend, and you and your family enjoy yourselves.
You got it. Thanks. Take care.
Thank you.